Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I want to share with you guys 8 ways I find myself kind of overcompensating for my ADHD and my autistic traits and struggles. So you might be thinking, Molly, what do you mean by overcompensating? What does that mean? Basically, I don't want to give you the like textbook kind of dictionary kind of definition of what the word means, but what I want to, share my understanding of the word overcompensating is I basically try to like hide and mask my insecurities, some of the ways that I struggle with ADHD and autism. I try to like hide them by overcompensating, so by doing the things I'm going to talk about. And it basically just hides the fact that I'm struggling, and I personally, I do it as a coping mechanism. It just makes me feel like, I'm not so obvious with my struggles, and I'm not so irritating, or I'm not so annoying, or I'm not too much for people. Like, yeah, that's just my take away from the word overcompensating. You can't, I'll put right here the definition of overcompensating, just because I might not have explained it very well, but that's just my way of explaining it. So before we start, if you could smash it a big thumbs up down below and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I will forever be grateful. So let's get on to the video. Number 1 is I find myself apologising, like saying sorry way too much, even for things that aren't my fault, or like don't actually need an apology. So I'll even say sorry for like asking for help, or like, asking a question. I'm like, oh, sorry to inconvenience you, sorry. Or if someone bumps into me, like it's not my fault, like they like bump into me, I'll be like, oh, sorry. And it's not even my fault. Like, I say sorry for things that generally aren't my fault. I don't know why, I just say sorry all the time. And to be honest, I kind of do know why. I think it's like due to like a deep-rooted fear of failure, and like a deep-rooted fear of rejection, and a deep-rooted fear of like just basically troubling and annoying other people. Like, I don't want to, be annoying. I don't want to irritate people. So I'll be like, oh, sorry. I just think it softens the blow, and it makes me feel like I'm apologising in advance for annoying them. And I hate that about myself, because I don't like the fact that I think that I annoy everyone, like I'm being too much all the time. I don't like that about myself, because it knocks my confidence all the time, and I'm like, sorry, and people will just like stop saying sorry. Like, honestly, I don't know why. Like, I struggle to ask for drinks at my aunt's house. Like, I'll be like, sorry, is it alright if I have a drink? Like, why am I saying sorry? I've always been misunderstood, and I just don't want to be misunderstood. I don't want my communication style to come across as though I'm, being rude or bluntly asking questions, so I'll apologise. But I don't know why. Like, I don't know why, but yeah, that's number 1. I find myself apologising way too much, and for things that don't actually need an apology and aren't my fault. So yeah, that's number 1. Number 2, I think loads of you guys are going to be able to relate to this one and understand where I'm coming from. So I find myself oversharing and over-explaining things, because again, it's the thought of being misunderstood that just freaks me out, and it makes me feel like I'm going to be like perceived as something I'm not, or people are going to think that what I've said is rude. Like, I think just all my childhood traumas just have made me who I am today, and it makes me very self-conscious, and I absolutely desire validation, and I seek validation, like connection and being understood. Like, I seek all of them so much, so I think I try to over explain so that I don't come across like I don't get misunderstood within like the miscommunication. And I think by talking too much and over explaining, then I get misunderstood. But yeah, that kind of makes sense. I over explain, so basically I'm always misunderstood. But I try to over-explain to avoid being misunderstood. Oh gosh, see, whatever I do doesn't make sense, but to me, in that moment, I feel like it's valid for me to over-explain. So the next one is, I use social scripting as a way to cope in like social situations. Like, before I go to an event, or before I go to like socialise, even for like a coffee like meet-up date, whatever you want to call it, right? I'll have to rehearse like conversational phrases or like jokes, or I try to like research things I know that person's interested in, because I want to feel like I have something meaningful to contribute to a conversation. Or like, I fear silence. Like in a like when I'm talking, I fear that awkward silence. So I'd rather fill it with stuff like, oh, let me quickly say what I learned because I researched that you like dogs, so let's talk about the cockapoo breed. Like, yeah, like I like to like have things in my head so that I'm ready for anything to happen in a conversation, right? It makes me feel a lot more prepared and a lot more in control in social situations. I know I am never in control because nobody ever has full control over anything, but it makes me feel that little bit more prepared, that little bit more in control, which then kind of helps me not feel so overwhelmed and so like anxious about going to these social events, because I'm like, it's okay, I have these things, I know what I'm going to say if they say blah 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 blah. I have these conversational, rehearsed social scripts in my head and I feel prepared. It just helps me. But I think I do that again because I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't want to miscommunicate anything. I don't want to feel like I'm not talking or like I'm not being, you know, engaging or I'm boring someone. I just do these things so that the other person doesn't think I'm boring, basically. Yeah, that's yeah. So number 4, again, I think is so relatable. I hope you guys don't have to relate actually, because it's not a very nice thing. But if you do, like, high five, because me and you, we're on the same vibe. Me and you obviously have severe social anxiety. But anyway, I have a tendency to people please, to overcompensate my feelings of like not fitting in, or my feelings of like inadequacy and insecurities in social situations. So I don't know about anybody else, but it doesn't matter if I'm invited to a place, I always feel like I'm not wanted. So like if I'm invited to go for a meal, I'll be like, great, and I feel really great, and then I'm there and I'm like, oh, these people, they don't want me here, they don't want me here. And you know, I would just do anything to make somebody else feel happy, because then I feel like they're gonna want me there. Do you know, I don't know how it makes sense, but it makes sense in my head. I just, you know, I just don't want to feel like I don't fit in, so I try to really mask that by people pleasing and overcompensating and being like overly helpful. Even if it's something that I'm not comfortable doing, I'll be like, yeah, great, I'll do it. And even if I'm not comfortable doing it, I'll do it, because I don't want to make other people feel like I'm not good, or like I'm not worthy of their time, or like I'm not a good friend or something like that. Like, I don't know why I don't know why I do it. It's honestly one of the things, again, one of the top things I wish I would stop doing as a neurodivergent, because it's just really frustrating, it's really exhausting, and I end up doing stuff I don't want to do, and like it's well out of my comfort zone, but I still end up doing it because I'm like, well, I have to help that person, because if I don't, they're gonna think I'm not like worthy of their friendship. I don't know, it makes sense in my head, and I really wish it didn't make sense in my head. Let me know down below if you guys can relate to that, because I think a lot of you guys, I think like neurodivergence and people pleasing, they go hand in hand. I don't know why, I just think we're naturally really helpful people, but at the same time, a lot of us grew up not fitting in, so we desire that kind of connection and that kind of, yeah. Let me know if you guys can relate. So the next one, I think you guys, again, are going to be able to relate to. And I'm going to read it off my phone because I keep trying to like say it, but I can't, you know, and I've done like 20 outtakes of this one, so I'm just going to read it. So this one is: camouflaging and suppressing my true personality, behaviours or interests to blend in or to conform with social norms, even if it means sacrificing your true like authenticity. So I think it's really important, because I and me and you and anyone in the whole entire world should not have to pretend to be somebody to fit in, or to feel like they have to fit into this, you know, this box. No, us neurodivergents, we are born to stand out, and we really are. I think, you know, I'm not the fan of calling it a superpower. Like, I don't personally feel like it's a superpower, and I don't really think there's a huge amount of benefits that come from having ADHD or being autistic. I really don't. And again, that's a personal experience. But we are not born to like fit into a 9-to-5 job. We literally, our brains are just so like creative. We are wired differently, and it's just like we are the next, I think, evolution. Like, we are the next kind of, we're just basically the upgrade from a basic human. That's how I feel. We're just the next level of human. We just have so many qualities and like personality traits personally that I feel like just don't fit into the box of what society wants us to be. And you know, I just don't know how to be like a normal person. I just don't. I try, but it doesn't work. But I still try my hardest, and like I sacrifice my true self just to try to make other people feel more comfortable, or like to try to fit in with other people. And we shouldn't have to do that. but I've done it all my life now. I almost feel like I don't actually know who the true Molly is anymore, because I've had to sacrifice her just to basically survive, really, in school, college, social situations. I've just had to like literally put the real Molly in a box and be the Molly everybody wants me to be, and it hurts me. It breaks my heart to think that I've never been allowed to be the true me, and I don't want anyone here to actually be able to relate to this one, because it's really upsetting to think that so many of us have to pretend to be someone we're not just to fit in. Like, it's like we put that mask on and pretend to be someone we're not, and then when we're, you know, like when we're at home and with our people that are, I don't know, our safe people, we can take that mask off and like we're true, and we shouldn't have to do that. It's so exhausting and it's such a sacrifice. But yeah, can you relate to this? Let me know down below. So the next one I think is quite relatable, but I don't know, so you're gonna have to let me know down below if you can relate to this one. And it's being stuck in a cycle of like perfectionism, like paralysis. So I just want everything to be perfect the first time, and I get stuck in this cycle of like overthinking, and I can't, like, I'm so indecisive. I'm afraid to take action or to make kind of decisions in case it's the wrong one. Like, I overthink everything. Like, I fear, you know, failing. I fear making a mistake, and I don't want to like not be good enough. I don't want people to think that I can't handle things. I'm not asking her to do anything again because she can't handle that. Like, I don't want people to feel like that, and I try my hardest to make everything as perfect as possible so that people don't think that I'm like stupid or dumb or not good enough or like not worthy enough to have that job or something like that. I fear literally failure, so I try to make everything as perfect as possible so that I don't make any mistakes. But because I do that, I burn myself out and I actually make so many more mistakes. I don't know, it's just a double-edged sword, whatever they call it. Like, I try my hardest to be perfect, and when I do that I make even more mistakes, and then things don't end up perfect, and then I end up ill because I've just worked myself literally to the ground, and I'm totally burnt out, and then I probably end up missing deadlines, or I just hand in half project because I'm just like I couldn't get around to finishing it. So yeah, let me know down below if you get stuck in like perfectionism paralysis. Let me know down below. So I'm not entirely sure if this is as relatable as the rest, because a lot of neurodivergents I speak to are like, I cannot relate to that. Like, no way, I cannot. No, I have to be 20 minutes early. Like, for me, no. For me, I try my hardest to be early, but I still end up being like half an hour late, even if I overcompensate by doing this. I micromanage everything, and I try to micromanage everything, little aspect of my life, every single aspect of my life. I try to micromanage so that it makes up for my lack of time awareness and like time management and poor organizational skills. I try to make up for that by micromanaging every aspect of my life to the point that every second counts. I try my hardest, but I still end up late. But I end up earlier than what I would be, but I'm still late. Does that make sense? I try my hardest to not be late, but I'm still late, but I'm earlier than I would be if I didn't micromanage things. Does that make sense? Yeah, I try to micromanage every single aspect of my life, and to be fair, I try to micromanage everybody else's life too, and they do not like it. Like, I end up getting so wound up, so stressed, so angry. I lose my temper so quickly because I'm just like, we're gonna be late, I'm gonna be late, and people are like, yeah, because of you, because you didn't organise the night before, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Like, yeah, I don't know why, I just cannot get the hang of like time management or any sense of like organizational skills. I cannot do it. It winds everybody up. Then I end up not wanting to go to this said thing because I'm just like, no, I've wound myself up so much now, I'm sweaty, got my hair's greasy and wet, and yeah, then I'm just like, no, I'm not going, because I've wound myself up so much. But if I'd have organised and managed my time better, we could have avoided this. So this is the last one, but for me, I feel like it affects me the most at the moment, and it is, I avoid taking on new challenges or taking up opportunities because I fear that I'm not going to be good enough, and that I'll fail, and that I'll embarrass myself, and basically that I'll get criticism because I'm not good enough. Now, criticism for me is the worst thing in the whole entire world. So, a little bit of a background, right? I do social media for a living. I make money from monetizing my content like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I get so many emails a day with amazing and honestly life-changing opportunities, but I won't take them on. Like, I won't do it. I'll avoid taking on any challenges or any new opportunities because I fear that I'm not good enough, and I fear that I'll fail, and I fear that I'll make like a show of myself, and that, you know, I'll get criticism for it, and I just can't do it. Like, it affects my work perspective, like in my career. It just, honestly, it's something that really, really affects me. But I think it comes from like always being told I'm not good enough, or like I'm not reaching my potential, I'm not going to fulfill my potential, that I'm going to, literally the teacher's words, I'm not going to make anything of myself. Yeah. And I think that's just childhood trauma that just comes to like bite me in the bum. It comes back and I just feel like I'm not good enough all the time, so I won't take these challenges on because I just don't feel like I'm worthy of them, and I don't want to show myself up, so I'll shut it down before there's any opportunity for me to make a show of myself or for me to fail. Like, I just can't do it. I can't do it. So yeah, like it really does affect me with my job, and sometimes that's why I don't want to make YouTube videos, because I'm like, I don't have any good ideas, I'm not as good as this YouTuber, you know, my views aren't as good as that YouTuber, there's too many people making ADHD content, so I'm not going to do it anymore. Like, I'll go through these stages because I just feel like I'm not good enough, so I don't want to fail because I'll feel like I'm a failure, and I hate that. So that's it. I've told you my 8 ways that I overcompensate, and now it's your turn to tell me down in the comments, can you relate? Let me know if you can relate to any of the ways that I overcompensate, or if you can't, let me know some of the ways you overcompensate, so that, you know, let's see if I can identify with some of the ways that you overcompensate. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'm really sorry if the lighting of this video is awful. I've tried my hardest. I'm in my YouTube studio, and the lights and the windows, sometimes I can't make it work. I have a ring light on me, but sometimes it just doesn't work. So if you have any suggestions on any equipment you think will make my videos better, like, you know, quality, let me know down below. Do you think I need a new camera? Do you think I need a new ring light? Like, any opportunity to buy something, let me know down below. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.